The movie The Hobbit starts with a guy named Bilbo. He's writing the story of his life for a young guy named Frodo. He tells him in the letter, "Now's the right time to tell you about my adventures, the ones I used to refuse to share with you, because you were too young." Then he starts talking about a city called Dale. It was a peaceful city, famous for its markets and special location, because it stood right across from the greatest gates of a kingdom called Erebor. This kingdom was ruled by King Thror, the Dwarf King. Thror had only one son named Thrain. The city was amazing because it had precious stones they dug out of the rocks and massive amounts of gold. One day, while the dwarves were mining, one of them found a strange glowing stone. The king called it the heart of the mountain, the king's jewel. Because of this stone, all the dwarf clans and even the elven king Thranduil swore loyalty to King Thror. At that point, Bilbo remembers 60 years earlier, when he was young. Gandalf came to him for the first time, introducing himself and saying he was looking for someone to join his adventures. Bilbo was surprised and refused, saying he didn't want adventures. He went inside his house, but Gandalf secretly marked his door with a glowing sign and left. That night, Bilbo heard knocking at the door. When he opened it, a dwarf walked in and started eating his food. Then there was another knock, and another dwarf came in, then another, until all the dwarves, along with Gandalf, entered Bilbo's house and ate his food. Finally, their leader arrived, Thorin, the son of King Thror. They all gathered and explained to Bilbo that they needed him to join their quest to reclaim Erebor from the dragon. There was also a prophecy that the dwarves would be able to return to their city, and since the dragon had been unseen for 60 years, they believed he had grown weak because he wasn't using his power. They needed someone to help them reach the mountain and find the hidden door. Gandalf had the key to it. They also needed a hobbit to go inside because hobbits were fast and quiet, and the dragon didn't know their scent. Gandalf offered Bilbo a contract, promising him 14% of the treasure, but saying they wouldn't be responsible for any injuries, burns, or even death. One of the dwarves mocked Bilbo, saying the dragon could burn him in a second, which scared Bilbo so much he fainted. When he woke up, he refused to join them, but Gandalf told him this journey would change his life and he wouldn't be the same after the adventures ahead. The next morning, Bilbo was happy the house was empty, but when he saw the contract, he changed his mind, signed it, and ran after them. The dwarves were surprised to see him joining. Their journey began on horseback. On the way, Bilbo asked Gandalf about a bet he overheard. Gandalf told him the dwarves had bet that Bilbo wouldn't come. Bilbo asked what Gandalf thought, and Gandalf said he trusted his instincts and believed in him. That night, while camping, Bilbo heard strange sounds and asked about them. The brothers Fili and Kili told him they were orcs, man-eaters, trying to scare him. Thorin got angry at them and started telling the story of his people. After the dragon took their kingdom, King Thror tried to win it back, but was stopped by the orcs led by Azog the Defiler. Azog killed Thror and took his head. Thorin's father, Thrain, disappeared, and no one knew if he was alive or dead. The war ended in a devastating loss for the dwarves, even though they managed to cut off Azog's arm. The victory felt hollow because they'd lost so many of their people. Meanwhile, 2 orcs were spying on the dwarves from a distance to report back to Azog. Later, as the group travelled through the forest, Bilbo asked Gandalf if there were other wizards. Gandalf said there were 5. Saruman the White, 2 blue wizards whose whereabouts were unknown, and Radagast the Brown. who loved animals more than people and protected the eastern forests. At the same time, we see Radagast in the forest, finding a hedgehog injured by dark magic. He tried to heal it at his house. When he saw evil spirits, Bilbo bravely tried to rescue the horses, but got caught. The trolls threatened to kill him if the dwarves didn't surrender. The dwarves gave up their weapons and were tied up over the fire to be cooked. Bilbo stalled for time by telling the trolls they should skin the dwarves first, or the meat would be ruined. The trolls got distracted, arguing about it until the sun rose. Gandalf arrived just in time, cracked a rock, and let the sunlight hit the trolls, turning them to stone. Afterward, Gandalf told them the trolls wouldn't have come so far without some dark magic leading them. They searched the trolls' cave and found their treasure and finely crafted swords. Gandalf gave Bilbo a small sword, saying it was the right size for him and would glow near trolls or orcs. He told Bilbo, "Remember, true courage isn't about dying, it's about protecting others." Meanwhile, Radagast arrived and told Gandalf about the dark magic and giant spiders. Gandalf was shocked and showed Radagast an evil sword, saying it belonged to a dark sorcerer long thought dead. Suddenly, they were attacked by orc-mounted beasts. Radagast distracted the creatures so the dwarves could escape into a cave. The group eventually reached Rivendell, the elven city ruled by Lord Elrond. Thorin didn't trust the elves and hated going there, but Gandalf convinced him they needed help to read the map. Elrond welcomed them with a vegetarian meal, which the dwarves didn't like. That night, they asked Elrond to read the map. He explained it was written in the ancient dwarf moon runes, which could only be read under moonlight. Elrond, the last of his lineage able to read such runes, revealed that the map said they must enter on a specific day, which was very soon. He warned them the journey was dangerous. Meanwhile, Azog prepared his army to hunt the dwarves. Gandalf and Elrond later met with Galadriel and Saruman. Gandalf warned them that if the dragon joined forces with the Dark Lord who wielded black magic, it would be catastrophic. Saruman dismissed his concerns, saying the Dark Lord had been defeated 400 years ago. Galadriel secretly believed Gandalf and told him telepathically that she trusted his judgment, even if the others didn't. The dwarves then secretly left Rivendell to continue their quest. They passed through rocky mountains where stone giants were fighting and got trapped in the middle of the battle before escaping into a cave, only to be captured by goblins. Bilbo got separated and fell into a dark place where he met a strange creature named Gollum, who accidentally dropped a ring. At this point, Bilbo saw a strange ring. Gollum wanted to eat Bilbo, but then realized Bilbo had taken his ring. Gollum panicked, and suddenly Bilbo slipped the ring on and became invisible. Meanwhile, we go back to the dwarves. They'd been captured by the Goblin King. When the king saw Thorin, he mocked him and said, "Thorin, son of Thor, a king without a kingdom. I know someone who'd pay gold for your head, Azog." Thorin was shocked and said, "Azog? I killed him." But the Goblin King laughed and said, "You'll find out soon enough if he's alive or not, because he's coming to take your head for gold." Then chaos broke out when Gandalf suddenly appeared, freeing the dwarves and killing the goblins. Bilbo caught up with them after escaping from Gollum. The dwarves were shocked and asked how he survived, but Bilbo didn't mention the ring. Gandalf noticed the ring, but stayed silent. Suddenly, Azog himself showed up with his army of orcs and attacked the dwarves on the mountain. The dwarves climbed up the trees, trying to escape, as the orcs surrounded them. Gandalf called on the moth to bring help. The trees began to fall, and when Thorin angrily charged at Azog, Azog overpowered him and was about to kill him. Then Bilbo suddenly jumped in, pushed Azog back, and saved Thorin. The rest of the dwarves joined the fight until the giant eagles arrived, picked them all up, and carried them to safety. When Thorin woke up, he looked at Bilbo and said, "I thought you didn't belong with us, but I was wrong." Then he hugged Bilbo in front of everyone. After that, they all stood together, gazing at Erebor from afar. In the final scene, inside Erebor, we see massive piles of gold and realize the dragon is still alive. The adventure is just beginning, and this is where the first part ends. Stay tuned for the next chapter.